Okay, I'm live. Hi, this is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. Sorry for the delay. We're just putting together some PDFs so we can go through. There's a lot here. I've titled this one The Epstein Files Deviant Art. I've done many shows on different aspects of the Epstein files as far as they've been aggregated, mostly by myself. This is an aggregation or PDF files, a series of files I put together by myself, just collecting them over time. I think they're important because they show aspects into his personality and taste that reflect his lifestyle. So we're going to go some names people might know, some people might not know them, but they're very similar to what was discovered in the Podesta emails. If you remember back in 2016, released by WikiLeaks, these are kind of the same thing. They're listed in different things. AI doesn't do a very good job of ascertaining their relevance or importance, but some of the names you may know, some of them you may not. And I'll go through them just kind of briefly here. Miguel, let's see, Andre Serrano, The Massacre of the Innocents by Peter Paul Rubens, Rodin, Gates of Hell. And Rodin is famous as a sculpture, if you remember The Thinker, the guy sitting with his kind of chin resting on his fist. Jorge Alvarez, Coming of Age. Marina Abramovich pops up. Another Neri Oxman. There's a lot of trafficked art. That's pretty interesting. Little Miss Pink Tomato, which I think I showed on one of my screens. It's by Damien Loeb. I guess he's a notorious transgressive artist, I guess is a way to put it. I think that these guys are all considered transgressive. I've called it deviant art. There is a deviant art website. Somebody in the chat mentioned that. So that's what came to mind. This is not like kind of beautiful nature pieces or something like that, impressionists. It's the opposite. There's Patrina Ryan Clyde. If you remember the Bill Clinton in a blue dress, that's actually in the files. And in his Jeffrey's, one of Jeffrey's buildings, I think it was in the mansion. Had a trouble in my last show. Well, it's actually 2 shows ago. I had trouble with my audio inputs, like my audio input on my computer changed without me changing it. So hopefully it sounds good today in the chat. I hope the sound's coming through loud and clear, but there's a lot to go through. There's a lot of things. So, but I do think this is reflective. This is a list that was in his files. It's from the SDNY New York. If you're watching this on my 3 YouTube channels, it's sound is good, thank you. 3 YouTube channels: Rumble, Rockfin, and X. That's where I stream through now, is those 6 sites. 6 sites, not 6 sites. But this is kind of a list. It has a lot of kind of computer things, but also covers some of his art, which is why I have this one here. I'm able to kind of go through it a little bit. But kind of at the bottom, you'll see albums, and he kept busts of female torsos for some reason in boxes. So like either they were torsos of people he kept torsos of personally, or for art reasons or something like that. And he was kind of a fastidious collector. He has to be seen as that. I think that's accurate. But this kind of list goes through a lot of financial documents, naked females, costumes, old photos. So some of that has to be, kept as considered art. Maybe 1 blue in color bust of a female torso, photographs, handwritten letters. But there's a lot of stuff, and a lot of that stuff is not, I don't think, is actually kept. But some of these, this is one document. You can see the EFT number on the bottom right. These are all based on actual documents from the Epstein files, Transparency Act, the EFTA. There's a lot of things here, and these are just incredible names. It's got John Brockman. It's to Epstein, 2014, and it has these artists. I mean, I can do more work on Hans Ulrich Obrist's. Once you look into these things, you kind of find out, okay, these are kind of artists for the elite. But some of these people, like, they're actually network. What you'll find is Andres Serrano did artwork for Metallica, did other things, but he was working closely with Jeffrey to do art for the inside of at least his mansion, I think it was. But he also had close connections to Fidel Castro and his Fidel Castro's family, Raul, and you'll see that in these files. So it's not just that I'm interested in their art, or people should be interested in their artists, their connections, and how these artists influence other people. If you're seeing this, you can see these guys' names: Hans Ulrich Obrist, Terence Simon, John Baldessari, Rem Koolhaas, who was in Moscow meeting with Putin in 2014. It's around the time of the whole Maidan overthrow. But also the interesting thing is that they're trying to set up this meeting with all these important people. This is before the Podesta emails in 2016. But the quote is, I had a fascinating meeting. This is from Brockman to Epstein. Epstein was seen at this Edge Foundation, at one of these Edge events with all these tech bigwigs. So he's definitely trying to network with them. But bringing Marina Abramovich into it is really something else. Palo Alto actually shows up later on in these files. So this event is in Palo Alto 2014, it seems like, at one of the Palo Alto hotels, Four Seasons. But, it has Marina Abramovich, who was the spirit cooker. I had a fascinating meeting with Marina Abramovich and HUO, I guess that's Hans Ulrich Obrist, last week. I went down to the Sean Kelly Gallery to see your piece, which is amazing. And there's a link to it. I don't know which it is. I'll try to figure that out. I mean, I can really expand this DeviantArt thing. If anybody has anything that I missed, please send it over. And anybody can send emails. People like, how do I contact you? The worst way is to put it in like a thread on X. The best way is to send me an email. William Ramsey Investigates at protonmail.com or williamramseyinvestigates@gmail.com. I barely ever check some of these things, and there's so many comments too. I would spend all day going through the comments. It's becoming that way too with the chats. And then he says here, turns out that in addition to being a premier performance artist, she is, according to Hans Ulrich Obrist, an accomplished and high-value lecturer on the art circuit. So the plan now includes her giving a lecture, but being who she is and depending on her sense of the group, will morph into something more interesting, probably much more interesting. Oh, and she has said in the past that her art is like an introduction. It's like a live show of what's real. I mean, she's made, hints at what goes on after these art shows. So this is a very interesting statement and worth saving for your records, that this is what's going on between Epstein and Brockman and all these other people. She asked me to write a profile on each of the attendees so she can be prepared. I can send her articles about Tony. You, however, are far more mysterious and intriguing. That's Epstein. Is there any press on you I can forward? In terms of the masterclass of the element, about the broad subject of art, we have the following sessions planned. Hans Ulrich Obrist, Maha Hoffman, Terence Simon, Marina Abramovich. Masterclass on art 2, segueing into something a spontaneously orchestrated Abramovich piece. Ginevra Elkan, Torino, John Baldessari, Miuccia Prada, who that is. Yes, the guest list is incredible. Since my last list, I invited Andre Lind, father of eternal inflation, who in addition to having the prevailing theory on the birth of the universe is also a serious photographer. Danny Lambert, Tony Fadell, Eve Williams, Sarah Williams, Solar Kamangar, Larry Page, Lucy Page, that's Google, Wojcicki, that's 33andMe or whatever, Elon Musk, Jeffrey Epstein, David Morin, Britt Morin, Ginevra Elkan, Maha Hoffman, I'm assuming that's guy started Lincoln's wife, maybe, Marina Abramovich, Han Olders Alberts, Katinka Matson, JB. So big names. And there he is, John Brockman, President, Edge Foundation, Fifth Avenue, right? Tony address. Visit edge.org. Take a look. No matter who you are bound to find something that will drive you crazy. Yeah, this is strange stuff. But this is like the fusion or connection between some of these transgressive artists or deviant artists and these tech overlords or whatever. Some of these guys are either VC, venture capital, some of these other ones I don't know. Well, this is another one I can follow up on, but I probably needs more work. Her name is Neri Oxman. Hi, Jeffrey. This is 2017. I hope this finds you well and inspired. A short and random note from Travels to say hello and send gratitude for your support of my work. So he's supporting these people's work. I ended up completing a series of death masks for the London Design Museum, and the collection will be traveling to MoMA and SF MoMA in the coming years at San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. Here are some photos of the second series of the mask and a few portraits of children holding Lazarus, a mask that is designed to contain the last breath, a sort of biological urn. I would not have been able to complete this project without your support, because many thought it to be too weird. Thank you. It meant so much to me. These are all very important. There's the the EFTA number. That's the Bates number for people who don't know. This is actually just a picture in the studio. I have to bring this up. Epstein is pictured actually at a table with this. I'll bring it up in a second if I can. But this is like a double whammy. You see the kind of modern cubist art in the background. I don't know who that is, but some infant kid naked holding an implement in a sink. And I think this is called shrimp something. So there's also talks about, like, there's stuff about large sums of East Asian Vishnu gods and things like that. They're all kind of seeded through here, and we can go into how a lot of elites move art and are involved in art. And if you remember the head of Jimmy Comet or whatever, Alephantis was involved in art and trafficking art. There's a lot of the interesting things people can do with art: tax avoidance. They can take loans out against art, so they're the basis of loans, and that's the collateral is this art. So a lot of these guys skillfully use art as an investment vehicle and a financial vehicle. This is from Jeffrey to Ann Rodriguez. It seems to be George Bush engaged in deviant act with an animal. So this is like, and you can see the stuff in the background. I don't know what this is from, but this is in the files, 2012. Also, this is just more, this is, I think, from Maria Farmer. I think she called the FBI intake in 2020 and told her story about her artwork and how she was approached by them days after. So this is maybe like an example of kind of how they manipulated stuff and stole paintings. And one of my paintings of Bill Clinton's head on a woman. The friend of mine told her Serbian friends about my artwork. It started a chain of events culminating in the disappearance of all my artwork. His name Jasmine Dash. I don't know who that is. But this is art fraud, art forgery. So that's what she's alleging in this document. I believe that's her. How long has this activity been going on? Since 1997, when it disappeared in Los Angeles. Some of it is also in the Adelson Gallery. Some of it has been sold to Tony Podesta. So you see the overlap between the Podesta emails and Epstein right here, right? This is like stuff that the FBI did not follow up on. So they seem like scoundrels. I haven't confirmed that this is, this is Jeffrey Epstein, 50, stolen in 1987. I'm pretty sure this is Maria Farmer's story. Person owned by Serbian Kansas connected to Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, John Luke Brunel, Ghislaine Maxwell, Elba McPherson, and her manager Stewart, and the professional magician J.B. Ben. So he's another magician, in addition to Blaine and Copperfield. These are all the EFT numbers. You can see them on the bottom. It's actually pretty long. Like, she goes into detail about like stuff like that. This is another one this is recent stuff. This is all going around to internal emails of the attorneys. David Boies is mentioned here. Sigurd McCauley, who I believe was directly handling Virginia Giuffre's case. cases, excuse me. My stolen art, I guess, on the island. So there's like a picture of it. Well, I didn't see the picture. Maybe I do have the picture actually in this one, but most of the pictures are not included in the files. A lot of them aren't from the email attachments, but you can kind of correlate them from other pictures that are in the files. My stolen art, I guess, on the island, maybe 66th Street apartments owned by Wexner. It never ends, the great grift of my life. My paintings sold for tens of thousands and used them to decorate for models after stealing them. Question mark. Exclamation mark. The FBI has all this art now, so the FBI has it. This is less than a year ago. This is really incredible stuff. When do I get something returned? My art stolen, compensation for suffering stolen, safety stolen. These are names I don't know. Somebody writes to her, I have a picture of your beautiful artwork in Epstein and model apartments. I know I'd seen your beautiful artwork somewhere. I wrote my name in petals on the table. My family called me. This was 2002. Also a book about Maxwell there. Love you. I think this is her art in the background. It's redacted for some reason, just another cover up. Why is it redacted? The EFTA number should be on the bottom there. Kathy Rumler to Jeffrey. Some people have said, I mean, I think she's lost her job about kind of her connection to him. But this one just talks about money, art, inventory. A lot of interesting things. I have to go back to the office. At some point, video should be done clear Jazar so the future generation can know why. This is just about kind of art going into a trust. They also discussed something called Project Iceberg. Anybody knows what Project Iceberg is? Send it to me. I have no clue what it is. Didier has structured knowledge from Project Iceberg. Other things I will discuss with you. I have no idea what that is. This is Donato Coppola. He's also a creative director, artist, London. So it just shows like they're moving around in the art world. 2024. Jeffrey, good morning. It was nice to speak with you last night, even though it was a bit chaotic on my end. Eduardo is very fond of you and strongly recommend my full availability to help you out with any of your projects. Let me know at your earliest convenience. You can call in my studio in London anytime, Donato. So those are just some kind of rando slides that I had. But it's really just the beginning. I'm just kind of giving you kind of a taste of what is going on with these kind of lists. Let's do the Gates of Hell next. Get an interest in buying this really massive piece of art. Like it's really something else. I'll get to the chat at the hour mark. I'll go back. I'm at 18 minutes right now, but in 40 minutes I'll go through the chat. If anybody has any questions, put it in there. If they have any references, if they have anything, you can send it to me live. Actually, I check my email live. I can do that. But this is actually really interesting, this whole interest in Rodin and Palo Alto. So I just mentioned Palo Alto in this Marina Abramovich art, right? So this is also at Stanford University. It's in the file. So either Epstein took it or one of his friends did or something, but it's an impressive piece of art. Rodin, there's a Crowley connection. Rodin and Rhyme is a Crowley poetry piece that he published. He knew Auguste Rodin, probably one of the most famous sculptors or sculptors in the West. And this is the piece. It's about 10 feet high. There's nobody standing next to it, which is unfortunate because it'll give you a sense of perspective. But it is enormous. And it features his take of the thinker right there in the center. So the guy kind of leaning forward with his chin in his hand. So this is, there's like multiple pictures from different perspectives. So they really kind of, you can see the EFT number. You can go check that out. EFTA 00255410. I'll put a list of all these PDFs in my Patreon. So you can check out my Patreon. You can download all of these PDFs. The PDFs from my last shows are in there too. So if people want it for reference material or just to check it out themselves. Some of these you guys like check stuff out. I don't even understand. This is another one. So it's kind of like an open air sculpture museum. You can check it out at the museum there, close to the center campus, or really the center church of Stanford University. This one's interesting. It's part of it. It's called the Caryatid, and it's like the Caryatid got hit by a brick or something. It's kind of interesting. This isn't supposed to be in this link, but it's Maria Farmer talked to Epstein about this painting. She says Epstein bought from her thesis show at New York, and it's I guess it's something Edgar Degas, The Interior. So it's interesting. Anyway, this is the gates of hell. So that's what it looks like. But the stuff about him trying to obtain the gates of hell is actually interesting. So he, in 2015, I'll show you this one, tried to acquire a copy of the gates of hell. And so this is it. He's talking to somebody, Hugues Herpin, 2015. I think it's either to Jeff or somebody he knows. As discussed yesterday, I confirmed several points concerning the gates of hell. Original casts are legally limited to 12 casts. 8 casts were already made. That means that the Musée Rodin still have the possibility to make 4 more casts. So the original casts are distributed all throughout the world. I don't think they were even cast while he was alive, while Rodin was alive. You'll have to send a letter to Madame Cheviot, director of Musée Rodin, precising what would be the place and the conditions of exhibition for the piece. As I have told you, this item generally reserved for public exhibition. It takes 3 years to cast it after signing a contract with a firm order from the purchaser. Usually the payment has to be done in 3 parts. According to the schedule of casting, 1/3 with the order, 1/3 second year. Do not hesitate to contact me. There's the EFTA number. It's right there. So he's in contact, and then the response is, thank you very much for this email. I passed along to my employer for his review. So somebody under Epstein. This is an email from M. Avar to Epstein. Spoke to a gentleman today from the Musée Rodin, re the Gates of Hell. The museum really wants its pieces to be exhibited publicly, so it sounds like Epstein wanted to have private showings. So if purchased, placed in a museum for all to see. If a piece is purchased for private use, it becomes complicated. The man wanted to know if you had anything to do with the person in Geneva who's also recently asked for a price, has interest in the Gates of Hell, probably. I requested this gentleman please give me a price, and he said he can only give me an idea of the price, as it is up to the Board of Trustees. They gave the final price. You must send a written letter to the director of the board for this. It's a process. But finally, he gave me the idea of a price of 22 to 25 million euros. Significant amount of money. The man said he had received my emails as well and would respond back with a synopsis of this information. So this transaction was being talked about to Jeff, from somebody, Gates of Hell. Price the Gates of Hell. Let's see, recasting Rodin's life. So it's Jeffrey Epstein. Call the museum and find out how much for the Gates of Hell. So Epstein is directly asking for that picture of the Gates of Hell that I showed. This is Maria Farmer again. This is her painting that I showed. So this is the other one. This is the kind of other deviant art, kind of the theme, Little Miss Pink Tomato. Maria Farmer says Epstein purchased this painting by Damien Loeb in 1995. Well, it was made in 1995 at her suggestion. She's one of the earliest, her and her sister. And she's done a lot of I think she's suing the FBI now. I have to double check. There she is in her studio, 2019. She's done a lot of kind of art that reflects a lot of this stuff. This article is titled, again, where's it from? ArtNet. Jeffrey Epstein accuser Maria Farmer says the New York Academy of Art helped enable the disgraced financier. This is done in, I think this is this. No, I don't know. I feel like this was released earlier. I don't know. 2019. So 2019. So that's, let's see, Gates of Hell. Yeah, that's basically the Gates of Hell. So Jeff is definitely inquiring about a price, 22 to 25 million. They're not on board because they want it shown in the public, right? And that doesn't seem to be one of their options. Okay, the next one is let's do the Massacre of the Innocents. This is another piece that he did acquire that I'm familiar with him acquiring, and it's called The Massacre of the Innocents. So this is from Peter Paul Rubens. You can see this right here. And for people who don't know this, let's see, I can just read this into the record. Let's see, around 1610, it was painted, oil on wood. This painting illustrates one of the Christian Bible's most violent stories. King Herod, who ruled Judea at the time of Jesus' birth, learned of a prophecy that a child born somewhere in the kingdom would one day overthrow him. To protect his throne, he ordered that all boys under the age of 2 to be killed. Rubens presents a deeply disturbing scene in which mothers try desperately to protect their sons as soldiers attack from all sides. The complex composition of tangled bodies, slain children, torn flesh, and blood emphasizes the horrifying consequences of one man's lust for power at any cost. Rubens himself lived in a time of war and was a diplomat who sought peace. And then this is the version from Matthew 2. I'll just read the whole thing. But this is what Jeff wanted. He wanted not, we'll see it in these things. He wanted a 9x9 version and put in Hell Ranch. So it's attached to Zorro Ranch. And these were intended to be seen as the way in, much like we'll see with Andres Serrano. These were supposed to be art that the public would, or the visitors would see. Like, there's no question. So the Magi visit the Messiah. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. When he had called together all the people's chief priests and teachers of the law, he asked them where the Messiah was to be born. "In Bethlehem in Judea," they replied. "For this is what the prophet has written, quote, 'But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel.'" Unquote. Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me so that I too may go and worship him." After they had heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen when it rose went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. Escape to Egypt. When they had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. "Get up, take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him." So he got up and took the child and his mother during the night and left for Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod. So was fulfilled what the Lord had said through the prophet, "Out of Egypt I called my son." When Herod realized he had been outwitted by the Magi, he was furious, and he gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had learned from the Magi. Then what was said through the prophet Jeremiah was fulfilled. Quote, "A voice is heard in Ramah, weeping in great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and refusing to be comforted because they are no more." Unquote. So that's the kind of person Epstein was. That's the art that he wanted. That's another Rubens piece. This is Sarah Kellen. That's one of the Interior 2011. People have asked me and other things like, what happened back in the 80s or 90s with Epstein? We didn't have the emails. There wasn't even an email thing. So these emails go back maybe early, like some of the early GMAX emails go back to like the turn of the millennium, and that's it. There aren't any emails going back any farther than that. So the record is unclear. You can get the record from other books. It's just not in the Epstein files. You probably get the records from some of the other writers or interviews that, like, Opperman has done with Hoffenberg, who was part of Towers Financial. and some of the stuff going with BCCI that was involved with Khashoggi, like right at the beginning of Epstein's kind of sordid career when he was 30. Anyway, hey, Rich, Jeffrey is asking for if you can FedEx the painting he made of the Massacre of the Innocents to the ranch. It's the large 9x9 canvas that we had rolled out for him to see in the entryway where they are killing babies. He wants to use it on the ranch and hoping you could FedEx it to arrive by Wednesday. Thanks, sir. So they know it's about killing babies. It's kind of strange. From Epstein, questions about a painting. Sarah Kellen, if you would like to use my house to get things done, please do so. When is the furniture being delivered here? Regarding the Massacre of the Innocents, see below. 9x9. And then Ocean's Bridge talks about some of the elements of what they have to do for the painting. Hi, Sarah. We haven't done this particular painting since 2005, and I no longer have the images on file. I do have lots of photos of other work we've done, though, and I've attached a few of them so you can see the quality you can expect. I've also included some process photos so you can get an idea of how they're made. So they didn't have it on storage. He wanted it specifically done. Epstein wanted it done, much like he wanted to assess how much the gates of hell would cost. Please note that our clients have included museums, interior designers, galleries, and over 10,000 individual art lovers. Our artwork can be found in various hotels and restaurants, and even the Venetian Hotel and Casino. Canaletto paintings of Venice near naturally enough. So people talk about this art. People send me some art stuff. But yeah, it's that's just one of the incredible things about Epstein is this kind of quest for deviant art, which really is something else. So we've gone over the Oxman stuff, the paintings. This is like some of the art inside the mansion. This was one. A lot of the stuff was actually sold or actually released. Like after they sold the museum, the mansion in 2019, a lot of this auction stuff was auctioned off. And this is one of them right here. This is this kind of black Madonna figure in the entryway to Jeff's, and then this kind of he liked these cloud motifs, like above the clouds, which is where he flew with the lady and the weird kind of gilded elements of this. But that's just one of the other strange things. Let's move on to a close friend. Like this guy, I think he's pretty much like an important person in the art world. His name is Andre Sereno. And if you've heard the whole story of Piss Christ or anything, or the outrage of Piss Christ, which I'll show here, which is, I think, transgressive or deviant art, this was the guy right here. Andre Sereno, Serno, is from Havana, Cuba, and this is a whole interesting story in and of itself, his affiliation with Epstein. And there are emails between him and Epstein all the way up to 2019, close to the time of his death. I do believe Epstein was murdered in jail. But this is his art on, if you know Metallica and their album covers, this is one, this is another one, Reload and Load, and this is his depiction of Piss Christ, which was all over the news, and it was kind of like the right really got, this was part of like the right's move against, deviancy or their perceived stuff like that, moral outrage. And this is actually from the Epstein files. You'll see this EFTA 011210039, where Epstein sent an email invited to a showing of Andre Sereno. He's I think he's a pretty prolific artist. Body and Spirit, Andre Sereno, 1987, 2012. A lot of stuff very similar to a lot of like bodily fluids and stuff. A lot like, in my opinion, Abramovich. And that's him. This is an article about him in 2022. The artist, the Madonna, and the last known portrait of Jeffrey. One of the interesting things is he was either commissioned to, there's an exchange. Sereno wanted this Madonna statue, but Epstein beat him to it. The artist finally got the sculpture in 2018 in exchange for taking Epstein's portrait. So this is something that he wanted, this Madonna. And they talk about it in there. I'll show their emails. But this is the article you can check out. The artist, the Madonna, and the last known portrait of Jeffrey Epstein. In his work, Andres Serrano's long-made art out of provocation. He's now sharing the details of how, shortly before Epstein's arrest and death in 2019, he acquired a 16th century Madonna statue from the financier. So that's Dan Adler. I don't have the article, but this is it. I think this was a picture that he took in 2019. I think about 3 months before he died. But I think he was supposed to paint his portrait, according to the way I read it. One of the interesting things about Serrano and Epstein is they're both, Serrano's connected not only to Epstein, he's connected to Trump. There's his picture of Trump, 2004. He actually bought and did a display in one of his art displays. He called it The Game, All Things Trump. And he actually bought, for some amount of money, one of Donald and Melania's Trump's wedding cakes, which is odd. So it is kind of strange that that happened. That he's connected to both of them. He seems to have this whole thing. Like, you can see some of the displays by him and Trump, like calls Trump an egotist, or he shows something that shows ego. But I'll show those in the files. But these are interesting. And these are the PDF files. It is interesting, like the PDF sounds like pedophile, but these are actual PDFs. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot about Serrano. But okay, it seems these guys all minimize, whether it's Bannon or anybody, Lutnick, they're all minimizing their connections to Epstein, but there's like 9 years of emails between Serrano and Epstein's people and Epstein. He actually asked Epstein for money, which we'll see here. But Serrano, like, attached to Metallica. He's done a lot of other arts of, like, dead bodies. And, the kind of, when I say deviant art, I'm not kidding. But this is something from 2019. I have a strong stomach. Artist Andre Serrano explains why he spent $200,000 on Trump steaks and other Trump memorabilia on eBay. He even spent nearly $2,000 on a piece of the president's wedding cake. So I showed that wedding cake. Here's the whole ego thing. So this theme, Harris, Trump Plaza. This is really old. I think The Game, All Thing Trump. I think he did this back in 2012. You see all these pictures and stuff. So that article is at ArtNet again. So these are ArtNet. Net, the farmer one. You see Trump's like skills at selling and merching himself and selling himself on all these New York Post, Inquirer, Newsweek. They served a special orange juice cocktail to be served in his honor. So that's kind of amusing. 11-foot tall revolving ego sign. Interesting height. 11-foot tall. Cakelet. There's the cake again. There's the piss cry. So it's interesting that there is a connection between Serrano and Epstein and Trump. So here's other showings. This one is called Torture, which was in, I think there were showings all over Europe. So these are showings that are all over. They are, I would say Andre Serrano's an international kind of art celebrity, maybe. I think that's fair. You see all his different works: The Morgue, History of Sex, Bodily Fluids, Holy Works. Andre Serrano's approach is based on showing us the world as we made it in order to raise consciousness about our time. For more than 30 years, he's capturing the spirit of our era, contradictions of our society, by looking at it with a critical, sometimes ironic, but lenient eye. For this show, Andre Serrano presents 16 artworks from the Torture series, a project he started in 2005 after being commissioned by the New York Times to illustrate an article entitled "What We Don't Talk About When We Talk About Torture," and torture is the theme throughout the Epstein files. And I'm not saying these people knew everything about Epstein. Like, he clearly operated in my opinion, in a compartmentalized sense. So some of these people may not know what kind of dark stuff he was involved in. But Serrano's all over these things. Groff was Epstein's assistant. This is from 2012. Cuba work. Can you come by? It seems like he's trying to get in touch with Jeff at the thing. Good morning, Andres. This is 2018. Reconfirming you will come to see Jeffrey today at the mansion. This is the mansion's address, 9 East 71st Street, 5th and Madison. So that's the Andres. Yes, I will be there. So he's been to the mansion in 28, fairly recent considering. Let's see, delivering the Madonna. I showed the picture of the Madonna, right? So this is 2018, June 2018. It'll take a while to bring down. The statue is heavy. Thanks. That's Merwin De La Cruz. Jeffrey would like Jojo and Leo to take this statue of Madonna to Andres Serrano at the below address. Andres requested tomorrow. If you prefer to go today, let me know. Andres lives in a doorman building, and it can be taken even if he is not there. Please let me know when he's best to deliver the statue. So they're in communication. There's no question. This is 2019 April, so Jeffrey would be in jail in July of 2019 and dead in August. Get an assistant. I'll see the studio. So Jeff is going to his studio. So it seems like that's what's going on. The best is if Jeffrey comes to the studio, let me know what day has in mind so I can get an assistant. Thanks, Andres. That's EFTA 00493-508. And Jeff is, moving around a lot. So it's like, are you here? Are you there? They're always trying to figure out when he's in New York City. Doesn't seem that easy. This is 2019, heading out on holiday tomorrow. Hello, Andres. How long will you need, Jeffrey? Let us know. April 17th will work. That's best if he comes to the studio. Here's Andres asking if he can meet the Pope in 2015. Dear Jeffrey, hope all is well. Any chance you could arrange for us to meet the Pope? Best, Andres. Jeff, the list is now full. I'll ask. Andres, thank you. So, desire to meet the Pope. From Jeff to Andres. This is 2015. Just saw your photos this evening at the Grand Palais, Paris. Nice. So they know, like, he's seeing him. There's also articles they're sending to each other, 2015. This would mean they're super close friends. They're clearly more than just casual friends, in my opinion. He's sending stuff to Jeff. He's sending his books. I want to send you 3 of my books today. Is there anyone at the house to receive them? Yes. Sticker the pages you suggest I pay attention to and why, please. That's 2012. Jeffrey writes, I'm thinking a piece should be done for the space and not try to fit something in. Dear Jeffrey, from Andre, thank you for a most enjoyable time and house tour. I'm thinking about your monumental staircase and something of mine that would make sense and look spectacular. I'm sending you 6 signature pieces. These are Serrano classics, all bodily fluids. 2 of these, Semen and Blood and Piss Picture, were used by Metallica as album covers for Load and Reload because Metallica admired them so much. I suggest we pick 3 of the following images and make a unique installation on the 3 walls, filling each wall completely. Not only will they look amazing, you'll have something worthy of a museum. All the best, Andres. And then he attaches Bloodscape, Semen and Blood, Blut and Bowden, Blood and Soil. I need to find those pictures. That's 2012. So, see you at your house, 2012. 2 at your house. Like to meet tomorrow. We want to see your house. Saying that, so. There were some religious issues from Epstein. Sorry, I will ask again. Like something sometimes happens to me. When they Googled you, it raised some religious issues. To Epstein from Andre. Hi, Jeffrey. We're leaving for Cuba on Sunday. Any word on Raul? So it seems like he's trying to contact Raul Castro, who was Fidel's brother. That's 2012. He's also friends with Black. This is 2014. Dear Jeffrey, thank you for introducing me to Leon Black. He seems very nice. I've given a thought to what to do in your dining room. I propose the following 6 portraits for the room. Each print will measure approximately 55 by 65 inches with a frame. I offer you the prices, including production, for $100,000. This is 50% less than the gallery price. Wow, what a bargain. I think I will look amazing and provocative. I also may want to change the color of the room if you're up for it. All the best, Andre. And then they're attached, which we don't see the attachments. Jeffrey, this is 2018. I will have to wait till September. I'm gone till then. I will revert on my return. Hope you are enjoying our girl. Okay, enjoying your summer. Absolutely love her. I think that's the Madonna, I hope. Andres, I'm moving a lot of things around from house to house. I remember that you wanted the other wooden Madonna in exchange for photos. Okay with me. Hope you're well. So it sounds like it got transferred. There's an article about Andres in Scene 2012. There he is. So he likes kind of Catholic iconography. Andres Serrano's Temple of Grandeur. Quote, I want the Pope to recognize that I am a good Christian, to embrace me as a religious artist. I want to work for him. Okay. This is sent. You can see the EFT number. This is sent or an email or something to Epstein in 2012. You can see it right here. He sends Jeff a Happy New Year in 2013 from Andres Serrano to Jeff. Happy New Year. And then this is the picture of him and his wife, I guess, Irina, dressed up. He talks about this. Anything is possible. We just need to design on images unless you have something specific in mind. No, nothing yet, says Andres. No, from Jeff. There's nothing specific yet. 2012. He sent something to Jeff. Jeff, I'll be having an opening this Thursday if you're in town. The Catholic League will be there protesting. And that's about Piss Christ coming to New York City. And that's Bill Donahue. I think he used to be on TV a lot, Bill did. So, I guess he's probably selling stuff. 2014, hello, Andres. You may reach Leon Black through his assistant, Melanie, with an email. They're meeting in 2012 after Jeff's dental appointment. They want to ask you if you want snacks for 2012. Hi, Leslie. Let's see. I got mentioned at Freeze Best Andre. Leslie, how fabulous. I will let him know. So she's going to tell Jeff. I don't know what Freeze is. They're bringing down the statue of Madonna in 2018. June 2018, Serrano come by to see you after dinner, late at 6 p.m. Not that late, actually. So he's got appointments with Serrano. So I mean, I think he's just like Jeff likes Serrano's work and wanted to support it. Are you around on 20? This is April 2019. Wondering if you're around. So Leslie's asking if he's around. Yes, Lester, I'll be around. What do you have in mind? Fabulous. He would like you to start working on his portrait. What would be the best? Can you go to him at the house? This is fairly recent at the end there. 2019, June 2019, Karina Shulak. Reminder, get photos from Andre Serrano. 2010. Talk to B about my shoot with Serrano. Does Jeffrey could try to sell it for 25, 30,000, trying to reach John Luke. Send something in 2016. Either one, I guess, just came back from Ireland where I have a shoot called Torture. Sends that. Great photos, says Jeff. He likes the torture photos. Andre says to Jeff, I was prepared to vote against Trump for all the right reasons, but I'm so disgusted by the outrage over grab them by the P that I may give him my sympathy vote. I'm sure Bill Clinton said things too. Sorry. So Andres, so he's in 2012. He's this is an email to Jeff. Serrano called me on my cell. He's in Havana at the Hotel Nacional. He has photographed Alex Castro. I believe that's Fidel's son. Alex has sent a message to his father asking Andre if he can photograph him. Alex suggested that Andre stay longer, though. Andre is currently set to leave on Sunday. He could stay until the following Thursday. The problem that he has run out of money and his cars don't work in Havana. He's wondering if he could help. He needs about 5 to 6K in cash. He says he has someone staying in his apartment in New York. He could write you a check for this amount if he could exchange it for cash, and will pass the cash on to someone he knows who's arriving in Havana on Sunday. So he seems to know Jeff enough in 2012 to ask for a loan. Reminder, Andres, paint your portrait. See, he's supposed to paint his portrait. That portrait's a picture, so they went from painting to taking a picture, I guess. That's about Madonna. Jeffrey, did you go to Freeze? Martha Stewart went. 2017, Andres. There's a bunch of articles about him. This is another one of his works, Dawn, I guess. That's him, Serrano. There's Epstein's portrait. Madonna, Trump. Black Dolls. Serrano, Old Glory 2. Serrano, The Perfect Song, featuring Amos and Andy, 1930s music sheet. That's another one. Carnival Games. So that's Serrano. So it's clear, like, Epstein's associated with all this kind of artwork and stuff like that. There's just no question about it. Let's see. I don't think I've gone through this one. I'm at 51 minutes. I'll let's see. I'll go through some questions now. Somebody's reading 2666. Good. I should just do a show on it. It's just an incredible book. Deviant Art. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Sound is good. Yeah, hopefully it's keeping up. I had a lot of trouble with sound. Like, my mic is a good mic. I've got a pretty good, I spent money on it, so hopefully it's good. Tony Podesta, yeah, that same Podesta brothers. So they cross over into some of these files. It's incredible. Thank you for educating and sharing. Yeah, thank you. I'll put like I said earlier, I'll put the PDF on my Patreon. I have a lot of other stuff over there. Mark, hello, William Ramsey. Thank you for your contribution, my continuing knowledge growth. Thank you. It just showed this is like an insight into the Podestas, too. This is what these people's tastes are. I think it's important. They're not getting art of, like, pastoral art. Gerald Hall. Look at the guy Epstein had decorating his house. Keywords, blood, semen, pee. You search the term Metallica. He's a Marina Abramovich level guy. Sure sounds like it to me, in my opinion. Hold on just a sec. Extracted Trump alive, faked his death. Do you understand? No, I don't understand. I don't think he came out alive. There were 2 autopsies too, by the way. Yeah, you send me any email, guys. Send me your email of proof. I'd love the proof. I would love to be proved wrong. Don't send me any AI pictures of Epstein, though, like from him in Israel or something like that. Do I have any resources to start learning about iconography? Well, I don't know. You could probably Google something. I've done shows on Balenciaga, though, so all this stuff over, and Podesta, and the Podesta emails. You can just put question marks or questions through my through some searchable database of my episodes. I'm at about 1,600 episodes. I think that the subject of these art things is very important because these guys are using it for financializing certain things, laundering things, moving things. This is from Jackson's Rule. He says, billionaires don't have bank accounts like you and me. They have art collections, yachts, mansions, stocks. None of it gets taxed until they sell it. So they just never sell it. They borrow against it instead, live off the loans, pay almost nothing. Then when they die, their kids inherit it all tax-free. The wealth never gets taxed. It just gets passed down. And we wonder why the gap keeps wider. This is one of their techniques. This is Maria Farmer stuff. This is the little children again that was they purchased, which these were some of the pictures in Jeff's, like I think it was on one of his bookshelves or something. Kind of strange Christian iconography, I think. I don't know, maybe it's Jewish, I don't know. This is pics from what seems to be the trademark. The artist is Harold Seward. I don't know. I didn't see that one. There's the stolen art. These are kind of famous. This is actually the artist I mentioned at the beginning. I'll try to remember her name, but she did all of these together. I've never seen this one before that was of Obama in like an Nganga or something, like at his office. But this one on the right is the far right is Bill Clinton, and that's George Bush, like playing around with Jenga, and Clinton in the blue dress with the red things. But she also did this one of Obama. You could buy prints. And there's the picture of Bill Clinton on the right there. There's the EFTA number. You can go check it out. It's really at the beginning of the file, strangely. It's EFTA 6030. So it was up on the wall. Fairly sizable print. One of these other articles that kind of ties in with Brudel and the Epstein network is a guy by the name of Flavie Flament. No, David Hamilton. Excuse me. David Hamilton is his name. But this was a recent one. This is in February. David Hamilton, ultra famous photographer, beloved by the rich. His specialty, nude little girls. He kills himself when convenient killing on people dying. Kills himself when Flavie Flament denounces his pedophile activities. His favorite model was Helen Hogberg, the first wife of Brunel. So these are overlaps. A lot of stuff coming out of France. That's Patricia Chabriant. More strange art, like, you know, the zebra with it being like opening up. I got to figure out whose that is. But I'll show George R. Now, the girl who did this one is Patrina Ryan Cleed. She was the artist for these three paintings. I'll show George Alvarez. Damien Loeb, Little Miss Pink Tomato, I showed that. There's also something called Lemore Gaskell Nude Showering Painting that was sold. There are other prints. Girl Crying on a Line, a 15-year-old artwork of naked girl, Palm Beach massage room. And a portrait of Epstein with the Pope. Like there's more work to be done. He had a lot of deviant art. I mean, it's really incredible. Who's Jeffrey Epstein's successor? Maybe Trump, because he has all the information. He has it all redacted for the public, but you know, if somebody else can see it, right? That's basically it. Did you notice J.E. was to have a meeting with Kate Spade the day she hung herself? No, I did not know that. Do you have a reference for that? Can you send that to me? You send that to me by email. If you have proof that Jeff Epstein is still alive, yes, send it on over. Well, that's basically it, guys. If anybody have any questions or anything, let me know. But I think that it just shows how much of this kind of curious art Epstein was involved in. There's just absolutely no doubt about it. And it suffuses all of his properties. One of the interesting things also, and I have to do an update on this because there's more of these artists I have to look into because of their connection to the Edge Foundation. But there's just a lot going on here, a lot of connections and a lot of connections between these artists and other famous people in New York. But fine print. You're welcome. Thank you, Zizix. Thanks everybody for listening. I had 180 live listeners without really doing any notifications on my kind of future stuff this week. I'll be doing some more. I'm going to do another one on code words. So look for that tomorrow. I'll promote it tonight, but I'll try to do it tomorrow afternoon. But just all the kind of secret inside knowledge they're talking about, that some of the stuff I don't know, some of the things were deciphered by the public. Like literally, I didn't know what a moon cricket was. Thank you, favorite. And you can find I'm going to put a full PDF of all. It'd probably be too big, but I'll put all these documents together, and you can filter through them yourself. I'll put them up on my Patreon. My Patreon's cheap; it's only $5 a month, and I mean I'm going to be printing a lot of stuff there. So if you like these PDF research pieces, you can see some of the ones I've already done, and ones that'll be up there in the future. And then also I put my interviews on there, like this one will be on there with no ads. So you can see these longer stuff. I did a part 18 of The Manchurian Candidate with Brett of PsyOps Cinema, Sean of Wake the Dead, and Hans of The Resident State last night. That was like 2.5 hours, and it's all, ad free. And I actually checked that a lot. So like there are other places to contact me. Like I said, people like you are you're just contacting me in the wind. If you think that I can see all these comments or follow up on these comments, I can't. The best place to do it is send me an email or go to Patreon. Like that's where I'm at. That's where I'm on. I'm not on Facebook. I have nothing to do with Mark Zuckerberg, thank God. And I won't be censored. I mean, I don't know if I've been shadow banned on Twitter, but I haven't really been censored. I haven't had stuff taken down, which is nice. I haven't had my account taken away. But this Epstein network and the Epstein files will unravel themselves. There's more stuff, and people are still learning stuff. It's actually been deliberately obfuscated through the Department of Justice. You've had Bondi be fired. There was a lawsuit filed today, actually by Kash Patel, who's the head of the FBI. The defamation, like he struck back. There was an article in the Atlantic claiming he was hammered all the time or drunk in Las Vegas is where he lives, but fired right back. But these are the people who are overseeing these files and supposed no criminality. Levi, going through is slow and repetitive. It is deliberately hard. It's not the best way to do it is go through some of these other sites, which don't work that great, honestly, because they don't understand the connections. Even AI doesn't understand kind of the more sinister, dark parapolitical connections between some of the stuff. But anyway, I can expand on this. There's a lot more. There's some things that I even noticed I didn't go through. Sometimes you don't even notice it when you first go through it. But look tomorrow for the code words. And I'll be doing some other stuff relating to these Epstein files to get clarity. I've done stuff on what really happened at the MCC, in my opinion. And I think it's provable that they were trying to kill Epstein from the beginning. The 723 event with Tartaglione was an attempt and then completed in August. And he was never going to get out of there alive and never testify. And he's better off dead, much like Brunel, much like some of these other people I've mentioned. There's a lot of deaths around this network, guys. It's very perilous. A lot of friends in those places. To have those people as friends is very perilous. But anyway, thanks everybody for listening. I appreciate it. William Ramsey Investigates. Go check out my archive, 1,600 episodes on a wide variety of subjects, going back to the beginning of Epstein. Like I did shows when he died. When he died in August of 2019, I did shows, and you can check those out. Like at the time, I did a lot of shows with, the True Crime Report. I did shows with a lot of other people reporting on that stuff 6 years ago, like a long time ago. And there's other, great researchers out there. There's a lot of great new ones. But it's Roberta Glass too. I've done a lot of shows with her. But send me an email. You think he's still alive? Show me the proof. I think that there was some, skullduggery that went on. The records that were released show that they didn't do their rounds that night, and that the video camera didn't work. So, like, it's these are all kind of tells to me. Anyway, I also included in the MCC the statements of guys who were in the MCC, the Francesi and Elite, who say that the story doesn't add up. So I agree. I'm in concurrence with them. But anyway, look for the show on the code words. Thank you very much for listening. And I appreciate all your support. I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate all the retweets and support at the Patreon and my Patreons. But things are on the horizon, so Patreon is a good place to watch these things unfold. So thank you very much for your time. Have a great night. Thank you.